Hi, everybody. I have Meredith here as a guest, and that is, oh, by the way, I'm Mary Lou, and welcome to the channel. Um, Meredith is here visiting because I have not been able to figure out how to get her to share, to share the channel
We
with.
haven't been able to
Well, we, we,
figure it
we,
out.
yeah, there's been, and my husband's help too, but it hasn't really done much good. So we just thought, as long as she was here, we'll go ahead and make a quick recording with the
Yeah,
two of us.
yeah,
Okay.
we'll do a video.
All right. So we would like to talk about for a topic. We're going to talk about, how we met and what our interest is in the little season and the millennial reign and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the timeline. We've been very interested in the timeline.
So, how long have we known each other, friend?
Well, it's been what 12 years or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. It's been long enough to have the relationship tested. And it's we've had some pretty rough tests.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah,
And we've
but we've
gotten
come
through
out
them.
the other side. In a way, when you have a long-term relationship with a woman like this, a friend, um, it's almost like a marriage in a way. You're gonna have your good times and your bad
Yeah,
times, and there's gonna be bumps along the way, and you
work
just
through them.
yeah. But I just love Meredith, and she's been such a help to me with writing the Book of Nachalah. She's more than she's a Bible scholar, so she has really helped me. We've had to kind of build at this kingdom. We've had to build the background for this family, that fictional family. We've had to build the background. We've had to build the world, really.
The infrastructure.
Yeah, the infrastructure. And Meredith has been a key to doing that because I don't have to search the scriptures if I don't know something. She pretty much knows off the top of her head. So that's kind of speeded the process up just a little bit. So anyway, let's
Yes.
talk about the timeline a little bit.
Yes. So we at one point were really interested in trying to establish, at least with what we know, some sort of timeline. We were reading through Enoch and the 10
Yeah.
weeks. I know the Book of the Bee also talks about has some times. We quickly discovered that different texts have different timelines and they weren't matching exactly. So we did guesstimate, and I think we did a really good job,
Yeah.
surprisingly.
She got to looking at it this
Um,
morning, so we didn't do too
we
bad
didn't do
considering we kind of knew that 2023 probably wasn't what year.
2023.
Yeah, but we did pretty good
we
for.
we to guesstimate epics and try to get it to work on a usable timeline with the descriptions that are given in the 10 weeks. And at that time, I believe, is when I was really diving into the um, the Ethiopian Bible and the pre Masoretic text distortions to the 5,500 year prophecy up until Jesus Christ's birth, death, and
Now, I have a
resurrection.
question for you.
So
Can that 5,500-year prophecy be found in the canon?
it is not in the canon.
Okay, I didn't think it
It
was.
has been altered. The time has been altered. A little doodad on the Paleo Hebrew of every generation, which means 100, was that little mark, like an apostrophe, was taken out of each generation. Most of the generations before and after. So it stripped approximately 1,500 years from the timeline, which is why our current Masoretic is 4,004 years to Jesus instead of the 1,500, approximately 1,500 years.
Oh,
So 5,500
Yeah,
years.
5,500.
So that the 1,500 was stripped away. And then later, after this timeline, we more recently we have been listening to Gunnar Heinzen's
Yeah.
research and how they've actually added time. So we're not really 2,000 years after Christ. We're probably more like 13 or 14.
Would you care to give your opinion on the theory of why they would do something like this?
I believe
And
it
who
is
are they, and why would they do
to
it?
hide the millennial reign of Christ. And I think they wanted to switch time. So they stripped time from before Christ and then added time after Christ to reestablish their own coming of Messiah for the world, which is
So
what we see in the churches.
yeah, so you think that there's a definite plot to make everybody think that this is yet to come when
And
it's
Jesus
already
is
happened.
coming. Jesus is coming, but it's going to be their Jesus
Oh.
that they have appeared in the sky, and a lot of deceived Christians thinking that that's Jesus, Messiah, when it's like, I don't know, they've got Blue Beam, they've got all kinds of technologies to be able
Yes,
to
they do.
get us to
They can
think
project
that,
that.
project that.
Yeah.
So that's part of, we think that that is the root of all this deception and this deceptive time to organize us to go to war with Jesus Christ, with our Savior, instead of joining him.
So, in other words, these people are going to volunteer to fight against God and not realize that it is the true creator of the universe that they're trying to fight against, which they're never going to be successful.
And we see organization right now. All, this is what the Greenland thing is about. All of the organization of soldiers up in the northern hemisphere, all across Russia, all across the United States, Canada, Alaska, Greenland, surrounding that northern area.
So would that be the Gog and Magog of the Revelation?
That would be all of the peoples of the earth and the armies of the earth, including the United States and all the other countries conglomerating.
Why don't we show them
our timeline? I'll go get it.
I can't say as we're proud of this, but we really did try hard. We want you to know how hard we tried to make this work.
The best we could.
Okay, so this is the beginning. How long do you think this is? 12 feet?
At least 12 feet.
Okay, so this is the beginning. And at the top here, we've got Enoch's weeks, which we never could figure that out. How that fit in. No, not at all.
But so we did write it down on the bottom if you see.
Yeah, and we did quotes down here, what the first week represented and blah, blah, blah. So here it is right here. And I'm just going to let it fall over on the other side of this counter here so that you can see how hard we really tried to do this. Now, I had this rolled up in the attic, and I told him, if you want to have a laugh, let's go get this thing and look at it.
It was fun to re-look at it after.
Yeah, it was. And there was
like
a lot of
years,
things that were
5 years.
right on here, but you're never going to come out right at the end. Yeah. Just leave it down there. It'll be fine. Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. We did really try, but it's not going to work if you're building on lies.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we went to the scriptures to try to find as much truth as we could when we were doing that.
And then apply it.
Yeah. But eventually, we heard about the little season, and all of a sudden, I mean, when I heard about that, I thought, well, that would sure explain a lot. That we don't have to put that 1,000 years on the end. Okay, that's not working. That's not working at all. So I don't remember who said what to each other on that deal.
So I think you came across it on the internet somewhere.
I did.
I was actually musing it in my mind anyway, and over the years, certain scriptures would pop out that would make me think, and then I'd be like, nah, because of the lies of our history. I'd be like, well, we would hear something, there would be something in our history about it, versus like, I come. Some of you here will not pass away before I come. That verse
I come quickly.
Me. I come quickly.
In this
generation,
yeah,
and the excuses and the justification for those things within the margins never made any sense. And then every time I read Revelation 20 and got to the deceptive part, I remember the first time I came across that and really took it in my teenage years, maybe 17, 18. And I'm like, wait, I thought it was all done when Jesus returns. Here's Satan's released again. Like, what about him being gone? Because that's what the church teaches.
The church kind of teaches that the millennial reign is at the very end,
and it's perfect. And
I have even heard one guy that I've listened to for extra biblical stuff. He thinks that this is a bunch of crap. But he says, well, this and this and this and this have got to happen. Well, it has happened.
Yeah.
But they've lied to us about it happening.
Well, and they lie about us what what the
Well,
millennial reign looks like. They
if you
think
look for
like it's
evidence, there
perfect.
is evidence there. And to me,
Yeah.
the biggest evidence of anything something happening was Tartaria,
Mm.
what they call Tartaria.
So at that time, I didn't have any knowledge of that. But so then I'm gonna go
Okay,
on. So
go
then
ahead.
after more like around the 2019, 2018, 2019, I started reconnecting with my sister Shelly. We hadn't seen each other, and we were rebuilding our friendship and relationship, and we'd go for walks. And out of the blue, she just brought up, "Hey,
What do you think of this?
what do you think about the millennial reign being in the past?" And I'm like, "No way. You're not just, you didn't just say that to me." I said, "Actually, it's been really coming back on my mind because as I was learning more and more about the deceptions, the 13 families, the overtaking of all the industries, how they're in charge, Rockefellers, they're in charge of our education, of our religions, institutions, so our
Medical
seminaries,
system.
the medical systems, all the
Everything.
schools are theirs. The government, all of it, they're in charge of all of it." And getting down to the bottom of that, I'm like, it doesn't seem too far fetched that they control every bit of information that we have about our history.
Mhm.
And so then that started to bring back in the back of my mind, my questioning where we are, even from way back, that, this could have happened. And I was very aware of the Second Temple being destroyed in 70 AD. So there were different clues that I had considered
too.
over the years, but then I couldn't make sense of the history that
Oh, I
we
remember
were.
standing out there in the living room, and I said to Meredith, what is your latest thoughts on this? Because we had talked about it before. And she said, I think it did happen. And I said, well, I'm not quite there yet. I want to look for more evidence. I want to pray some more. But it was just there. It explained so many things. And of course, then your imagination starts running. What must it have been like?
Yeah.
And that was where, I started to think about that, and I had some time in alone that I dedicated to using my imagination and thinking, what would it be like if that was true? And that is when I went, oh my gosh, I just know it. I just know it. And so then I talked to Meredith, and we started building the imaginary our imaginary kingdom that was, it's based on facts.
It is based on information, and I know a lot of people just wanted to dismiss all the history that's given us, but I believe it was revealed by the Holy Spirit that the history we're given is history, but it's history of the rebellious outside the blessed kingdoms. And that's described within biblical scriptures as well as extra biblical scriptures, that the bad people aren't obliterated. They're not in chains, just their leaders in chains. So there's scheming and plotting and bad people that don't want to serve Christ. And he's like, you can do your sin, you could go do your thing out there. Your lands aren't going to be blessed. You're gonna have deserts. You're gonna suffer. But you're going to be allowed to sin out there. And so we have. It was revealed that this history that we're taught is their history, and that they've given, and then they've propped up their superheroes.
We call that the
outer darkness history.
The outer darkness. The cities. It's exactly the opposite of it is today. The cities are sacred, and you don't go in there unless you can't live there unless you have pledged allegiance to the King, who is Christ. You're not going to be living there because they're not going to have that polluted. No, but there are people in there that have not dedicated their lives to Christ because there were some that lived through.
I guess we can get to Abigail. Let's talk about Abigail.
Okay. But I wanted to make one comment about free will and our Creator and how that free will is sacred to Him. Mm-hmm. And this is why He didn't force His will on the entire world. If you want to be in His kingdom and you want to obey and you want to have a really good life
and the blessings,
and all the blessings, then you have to make a commitment. It's just like it is today. Mm-hmm. But if you don't want to make that commitment, there is somewhere you can go. And in the book, it's the outer darkness.
Yes.
And so Meredith and I look kind of like we are living in the outer darkness right now.
Yes, and we kind of have the outer darkness during the millennial reign not being nearly as bad, obviously, as it is today, but that the kingdom of Christ it naturally bled into the outer darkness as missionaries were going out there
Yeah.
ministering to all the peoples of the earth. That would be what his kingdom was about.
Right.
Is spreading the gospel, really wanting to touch the peoples of the world that
And
with
they
his
they
message.
actually lived a Christ-like life. I mean,
Yeah.
they were how do you explain that? They were examples of what it's like to live a Christ-like life.
Yeah.
And the adoption stuff
Yeah.
and all that has to do with
So
that.
with
But I don't
the
let Meredith
Lord.
tell you about Abigail.
Oh, so Abigail.
She loves Abigail.
Abigail is our character. So Abigail, we have her being born right around the time of Christ's death and resurrection. Before, a little bit before. I think she's 4 years old.
Yeah,
around the time of Christ's death and resurrection, and we have her growing up and living all the way through up and through the tribulation onto the other side. Her parents were martyrs. Her father, especially her mom, died early on, but her dad lived all the way through, raised her out in the country after that, and he ended up becoming a martyr. We have now I know originally, so Mary Lou wanted Abigail to be among the Hebrew peoples and to be of the clan of the faith, but she didn't want Abigail to be a resurrected saint.
Right. So there was what people today call a rapture that already happened. Okay, and
Yeah.
that was the people that died for Christ.
Yes.
They are now the resurrected saints, and they are ruling with
Yes.
Christ.
So the faithful would have been. I said, Mary
Yes.
Lou, the faithful are they have a instant death and resurrection. What people call today rapture. I don't like that term. It's not a good. It's not a good.
But that's
term.
what people understand.
Yes.
So,
I said she would, if she was faithful, she would be a resurrected saint. So we have her being among the faithful, but not really a heart change.
Right.
or commitment to Christ at the time. So she would have been among the nations. That, of course, it says a third died, and then a third of the 2/3 die. Of what's left of the population. So there would have been at the end 50% of the population still left alive, and so those are the mortals left after all going through that. And as Christ's kingdom is reestablishing, she would be among the Hebrew people who was not resurrected, and so she would have been one who knew the culture, followed the rules. Wasn't
because if you're in the kingdom, you have to follow the rules. So she did.
She did, and she wasn't opposed to goodness. She just didn't have that spirit commitment. And so we have her at the beginning of the book. I want you to take this on with like.
Well, I mean, there are three characters in particular that live through this. There's her, and then she's got a cousin that was 12 when she was born.
And
so she would, so Anna can tell more about that, and she did do that. Tell more about what it was like. And then we've got a guy named Fergus who was a Roman centurion.
Yes.
Okay, and he lived through. So those are the ones that are the characters in the book that lived through. Although, like Meredith said, there was a lot more. They're just not featured in the book.
Yes.
So
I think
Abigail sinned. And they found out about it, and they found out quick, and she didn't know how they found out. And she was terrified. She had a 4-year-old daughter. She was really scared, and they actually put her out into the outer darkness until her appointment with the magistrate. So she was to come back in a week. She's going to be out there for a week, which was really good because she met Lila out there, and Jeremiah was Lila's grandson. And so they both played a huge part in the book, that she met those two during that week when she was out there. So that's, you have to read the book to get the whole story.
And that's her transformation, her salvation and commitment.
Yeah. And she repented. She repented, and she gave her life to Christ while she was out there. And that's really what it took for her.
Redemption.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a very, very touching. I believe the Holy Spirit really gave you Yahushua's letter to her, and you'll have to read the book to get that. Actually, I think it's on
I think
Shelves of
that's
Shalom.
I think it's on
It's
Shelves
on
of
Shelves of
Shalom.
Shalom.
Yeah,
You could read that for free.
because Christ didn't appear for her court date. Uh, he was her advocate,
Yes.
but he sent a letter, and the magistrate read that letter.
Yeah.
And then ended up giving that to her, giving a copy of that to her, so she had that. I think he gave her the original.
Yeah.
So she would have that the rest of her life about how much she was loved
Yes.
and how he waited for her. Okay, so I mean, I don't know if Christ knows. I think Christ knows which of us are going to eventually make a commitment. Yeah.
To him. And he's very gentle with us and
Yeah.
patient with us, and I think that's what
He doesn't want anybody to be destroyed. He didn't create us to be destroyed. He created us to, I don't know, serve him. And you know, that
Love him.
sounds horrible when you
love
think, oh,
him.
but I know, but I want to serve him.
Yeah.
But if you had said, 30 years ago, do you want to serve? I would have said, nah, I don't think
but
so.
not just service, love.
Yes, but when you
Relationship.
love somebody, I don't know, I'm sure that every person can think of someone that you love that you want to please. And so you bring them a drink of water, you help them with this or that because you want to please them, because you love them, so you serve them. So that's what that service is all about. But I didn't understand that when I was young. So,
and then maybe we should explain like how that's structured. So she was in one of the cities. So we have a main blessed city, which is we call
Regnum Sanctus. Yeah,
Sanctus.
That's what they call the New Jerusalem in the north right now. Yeah, they called it Regnum Sanctus.
Yeah, that's what we called it in the book. Yeah. And we have Jesus and all the resurrected saints. That's their main place, and that's the hub.
Yeah.
And then all the other blessed cities among, we have many of them. We have the resurrected saints being the governance over those and assigned. So we have what's called councils, and there's 3 on each council, and we have different councils, all these different councils in each of these cities with
territories. It's not necessarily a city; it's a territory.
Territories.
Yeah,
and they oversee. they don't. It's not on every little thing. But when there's something important that comes up, they show up, and they can show up, and they just all of a sudden they're there when they know there's an issue, and they've got to talk it through and make help the people.
And we don't even know how they know, because many times a character will say, "Well, I was just thinking about you," and they'll say, "I know,
I know," and they just show up, and then they come to a decision on something.
So what do they look like?
We have them sort of light and kind of glide. They have physicality, but they're a bright nature, and they can walk through walls, much like what's described how Jesus.
What's it feel like when one of them touches you?
Like energy.
Yeah,
energy. You feel energy, and and they can come and go and appear and disappear. But we don't have a lot of instances of interaction with the saints. And we only have one time in the book when they travel to Regnum Sanctus of actually being in the presence of Jesus, right?
Yeah.
When they go and take a visit. And so that's how we have the kingdom structured. And then we have missionaries that go out into the outer darkness. And when communities out there get excited and dedicate their life to Christ, and they spread it to their families, and the whole region is dedicated, those peoples could get permission to either go into the nearest blessed city, or they can decide that they want to make their own.
Well, they have a special class of worker called a repliverer.
Yes.
And this guy goes out and gets people. So let's just say that you're out there and you've dedicated your life to Christ, and you decide you want to come into the city. The repliverer will come out and escort you.
Yes.
Or I guess you could come to the gate too.
Yeah, and then
they'll let you in.
They'll determine where you are. But then we have these territories where they make their own, and they get permission from the council to start to build.
Well, tell about Hiram. Region. Tell them about Hiram.
So Hiram is Abigail's husband. He ended up having a wrathful reaction and accidentally killing somebody. I don't want to give the whole story, but he ended up, his punishment was to be out was cast out of the Bethel
For his
for his
carelessness and
carelessness and
recklessness.
recklessness.
Yeah, he didn't do it
Because
on
he
purpose.
reacted on emotion, and was held responsible for that. He was a cathedral builder, and he was getting kind of pompous about his work, because he was something special. He had these skills, and part of his punishment and his discipline, which was to his benefit, because he grew out there just building basic buildings and huts and things for people. He got lowly work out there, and through that process, he learned the benefit of building the kingdom spiritually among the people. And
Well, he got
humbled.
a following out there.
Yes, he did.
A lot of people, men that were, like
Yes.
single guys that were saved,
Yes,
would start following him
Yes.
around, just like
And
he was Christ.
I believe he built a
Yeah.
settlement out there,
and so then
a new
he
blessed
got asked
city.
for permission
Yeah,
to build
build
a new city. And so they did.
That's
They built
how we have the kingdom grow throughout the millennium.
Plus, each city's borders kept getting moved.
Yes, and they
Yeah.
kept getting moved out. So we
Yeah.
have it growing physically, spiritually at the same time.
Everybody has a chance.
Yes.
Everybody
Yes.
has a chance, and there's complete 100% free
Yeah.
will. No one is coerced.
Yeah.
If this is what you want, you go into the city,
Yeah.
or you can stay there and try to convert your family if you're concerned about that.
We were trying to build a kingdom that is not just, because there's a lot of fighting over, is it a physical kingdom, is it a spiritual kingdom? And the answer is it's both.
Yeah,
as on heaven, as on earth. And we have this time almost like the spiritual veil is at its thinnest, and it's bleeding over both physically and spiritually, with that veil thinning. So as it is in heaven, it is on earth, and that's what Christ was building during that time. So we have it both physical and spiritual. So that's the answer. It's not one or the other.
but it was real. It was very real, and they had an opportunity for spiritual growth.
Yeah.
And each of our characters that we develop had that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's a lot of characters in there because this covers the entire millennium.
Yes.
However, in 2 volumes, it's not divided equally. The first volume is 320 years, and that takes us from
332.
Yeah, that takes us from
Christ.
Yeah, even actually before Christ, because who was it? I think Anna remembers. Or
yes.
One of them remembers being in her mother's arms and being baptized by John the Baptist.
Yes.
So it goes that time all the way through the tribulation, all the way through the judgment, blah, 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 all the way up into the millennial kingdom. Talks about the first few jubilees. It's based on jubilees, which is every 50 years.
Our timing.
Yeah.
And we try to make that very clear because we are talking about a Hebrew people.
Yes, they're Hebrew
so
people.
They are.
We don't know that all those people in that kingdom were
No.
Hebrew. They can come from
our
anywhere.
Our story is focused.
Yes.
On
this is just where our family is. And there are 3 main women, you could call them matriarchs if you wanted to. And their families,
intermarried.
Yeah, they intermarried and
very family based. Very family focused.
They ended up out in the country and they grow their own food and it's just it's just very interesting. And then we have a big gap after volume 1. We don't come back into the story until 800.
Is it 800?
Yeah, 800.
Early 800.
And then we cover the end of the millennium. And then the 3rd volume, which is only partially written, it has to cover what happens when Satan is loosed. And we've got 2 couples that are up in an airship recording what is happening on the ground. Yeah.
And the transition. And we're having to do a lot of this research is looking backwards into examining what we do have residual of evidence of
I'm not sure if I got all the geography stuff right. I probably didn't. Okay, I tried to be a little bit vague about that, but I do know that right now I'm looking into more closely the ley lines and stuff like that. I'm going to mention Michelle Gibson. Go on over there because she's doing some great work on that. So that their technology is getting ready to go. It's going to go. It's going to fail. Satan's going to make it fail.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have it. We call it the wane of the reign. It's not an instantaneous moment.
Yes.
But a progression. It's like Satan's power is getting stronger and stronger, and so the kingdom people are having to make a decision whether they're going to migrate to the great city, the camp of the saints, and at the end,
But most of them
or
do end
most of
up.
them do.
They end up going.
And
We
but
don't want
then
to give it all away.
no, we
But
don't want to give it
that
all away.
that's volume 2.
That is in
where
volume
that
2.
wraps up the Millennium,
They have to make that
and
decision.
that is already written. And I don't think that I'm going to go in there and change anything.
No, and I don't think we want to give it all
No.
away. So you'll have to read.
No, but volume 3 is still in progress, and I still have an opportunity there if Meredith and I can get enough information on how does their power source fail. And part of it is the ley lines. Part of it is what they gather from the ether. And how does that relate to the ley lines? And I will never be an expert on this. I want Michelle to know that. I will never be an expert on that, but I'm gleaning as much as I can.
I don't think you need to write the story.
No, because it's really a story about people.
It is.
It's about a family. Okay,
Yes.
It's about people, and they are human beings, and they are fallible. And we could get into what's the difference, Meredith, between a demon and Hasatan.
So Hasatan is a demon. They are those that wander the earth, that were condemned. They were the Nephilim. They were the hybrids from the Watcher Angels, and mating with the daughters of Cain, which are the descendants of Hasatan and Eve. So they're like hybrid creatures, hybrid peoples.
So were they chained?
They were condemned to wander the earth in spirit form without body.
But when Satan was chained, were they chained?
I do not believe so.
No, it's not said that they were chained. So I mean, chained. In my opinion, they're still wandering around causing trouble.
They cause trouble in the yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. So their power is less and more chaotic. They don't have a leader to keep them on mission. So they just wander around and
they hate people, so they're gonna they hate human beings, so they're gonna do nasty things to them.
But it's not as organized.
But I mean, so part of the problems that these people have is what comes from within each of us individually, that we are. Yeah, it's our sinful nature that comes out, and then I think there's some demons working around in there too.
Yeah, and definitely more so in the outer darkness realms than within the cities. You have it's a lot easier to live more righteous because the people around you are also living that way, and so you fit in with the culture, and the custom is to be not selfish and to live your life serving others.
Well, how you can serve others, one of the things is when these people get saved, some of them are sick. When they come into the city, they're sick. Yeah. And so they have a hospital there where, the treatment might be herbal tea, or it might be, the bells, the frequencies that help. How they, and just drinking the living water, because that will keep you from aging. They're still aging out there in the outer darkness.
Yeah, we have our mortal saints, mortal peoples within the kingdom. They are mortal, but they definitely can live the entire millennium.
Yes, if they so choose, they can live the entire.
They can. They don't have to. There are a lot of missionaries that decide, I just want to minister, live out my days, and.
Well, Nathaniel was in a train accident.
Yes.
And what happened to him was he was killed in the train accident, and when the helpers came to clean up the mess and save whatever they could save, and he was one of the ones that had signed a DNR. Do not resurrect.
Do not resurrect. We have DNR meaning do not resurrect, and we thought that'd be easy because of the do not resuscitate.
Well, it's the same thing, really. I mean, but he did not want, and so that was a terrible tragedy to that family, because he was the one that trained Hiram in building, and he was quite a leader in the family, and he died in that train accident. So,
and we have killings from the outer darkness who want to do harm to the peoples and the families within the kingdom.
They kill the missionaries.
They
don't really. They try not to. What they do is they keep the food away. They'll steal their food. They'll beat them up. They'll do all kinds of things because they really don't want it to come down on their head for having murdered them. Although sometimes they do.
Yeah, and we have some peoples that were in the kingdom, and they are kind of on right on the edge and the border of being unworthy to stay, and they tread the line very
Yeah.
carefully, where they're not
They're not
really
exactly
sinning,
going against the law. Well, you
but
know people like that today.
yeah,
You know, you know that they're right on the edge,
edge.
but they're
They're
technically
technically
following
not
the law.
doing it, and then
Yeah.
ultimately they, because of their heart condition, they do something
Yes.
that gets them booted out,
Yeah.
and
Then they have to
and
go
then
out
they
in the
have to
outer
go out.
darkness. Yeah.
And in the story that we've developed here, he becomes the main bad guy in the outer darkness, organizing, scheming against our family in the book.
Yeah.
And we call them, because it starts with one guy, we call them the Jorams.
Yeah, and I didn't realize when I named that it was so close to German, but it really is. But that
Jorams.
totally unrelated.
No, it's
But
unrelated.
yes.
It was a name.
It was, because as I gave this guy this name, I didn't realize how important he was going to be later. He's very important.
Yeah.
Because he was like our evil character.
He's our scheming character.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of the schemes and the things happening in the outer darkness and the transition. And this is where the book touches on, like, what, looking back into the history that we're given and how that history parallels with what's going on. It's
Right.
This is to help you as a reader to visualize what really happened. How did it transition? How did we forget? How is this information kept from us about the kingdom of Christ being, because that would have been center
Well,
stage.
they had visionaries out there, and
Yeah.
the gal that
Lila.
Okay, but
started.
I mean, Abigail met her when
Yes.
she was in the outer darkness, and she was like 1 week from, she had just made a commitment to Christ when Abigail met her, but she started having visions.
Yeah.
Now in book 2 we get into that more.
They start collecting.
So that these people knew, the people in the kingdom knew that when Christ stopped reigning directly, he's still reigning today.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, not as hands on as he was then, but that when Satan was released, that there were certain things that were going to happen, and these were visions that people had, and it seemed outlandish to them at the time. To these sort of innocent people that were living in the kingdom, how could that be?
Yeah.
And we address a lot of strange things that go on in our world today that they saw in visions, and people could absolutely not believe that.
It's coming from a perspective of shock. Like,
Yeah. You're
how
kidding.
do they think that way? That's absurd.
Well, one time they were talking about orphanages, and,
Yeah.
and they couldn't even comprehend what an orphanage was.
Why?
And what fool thought of that?
Why
I mean,
would
of course, when you see a child that needs a home, you give them a home. You don't put them in an institution.
Yes.
So they're seeing these things and going, oh, wow, that is really a weird place. And I wouldn't want to live there. But here we are. We are living that. We are living what their visionaries saw.
We're living the institutionalized world, and to our families, that is incomprehensible. The institutions of, like, a place to put all these babies and a place to school all these kids, because in their world, they school their children.
Yes, they do.
But their it's not like the same. It's life application, life learning. Yeah, they have times where they sit but it's like the current day homeschool. You didn't go to these places with all these other kids.
Well, if you wanted higher education, you did. You went. Because
higher, but not the young children.
No, the young children were kept as close to home as possible.
Home with their families, and home on the farm, learning how to farm, learning how to feed the cows and feed the horses, and how to live on the plantation before, and then when they get to that adult age, then they can make those decisions. But they didn't have institutionalized, on the home front. It was natural. It was love focused within family. And so
it was living the Christ-like way.
Yeah.
So we are going to wrap this up now.
Okay.
But Meredith and I are going to continue to try to master YouTube.
Live.
Yeah, yeah.
It's been the
Just
bane of our
share. Yeah,
existence.
yeah. Just we're gonna just keep at it until eventually it clicks. But in the meantime, we've got something we can put out there to you guys that to let you know that these books do exist.
Yes.
They're everywhere. Just put Book of Nachalah,
And it comes right up.
Nachalah,
Yes.
Nachalah,
Nachalah.
and it's sort of like Nachalat.
Knocking.
If you want to learn, if you want to remember how to pronounce this Hebrew word, it's Nachalah.
And explain what it means.
Oh, it means inheritance.
Inheritance.
Yeah, inheritance.
And our inheritance is in Christ.
Yes. Well, it's got many
spiritual.
meanings. Meanings this inheritance does because, it started out with an airship that in present day, the people of Appalachia know that airship crashed a few hundred years ago, and it's out there in the forest. It's covered with kudzu, but it's got some interesting things in it, and this manuscript was found in there. So get the book, read it, and we're gonna post this and put so you can put ideas and stuff in the chat.
Oh, that would
or if
wonderful.
You think that we're absolutely completely off base with something, go ahead and tell us. Just be nice about it. And we'll consider it because the book 3 is still not done.
Yeah, I think
it's barely started.
Yahuwah is putting it on hold to gather information because there is so much.
Well, and maybe I needed a break because I basically wrote 2 books in 1 year. Yeah. And Meredith and I just wrapped up the editing of the second book.
Yes.
The pre-editing, I would say an editor's going to get after it. But we thought we'd save her some work and get as much of the glitches out as we could.
And just know we're right on the verge, right on the edge of the revision of the first one to make it more readable. We found that
we had a little problem with the fonts.
Yes.
Basically, that was the problem. That some of the fonts were difficult to read. And we noticed a lot of the older people, even with their bifocals and their magnifying glass, were having trouble. So they're revising that. I don't know if they're going to call that a second edition.
I think they're going to call it a revision.
Or revision.
It's a revision. And the revised Letter of Jesus, like we said, is on the Shelves of Shalom.
Yes.
So get on Shelves of Shalom and read
Go on there and read that because that is what Christ wrote to Abigail after she sinned.
Yeah. Now
I got goosebumps because I love that so much.
So that is just probably on the verge of being released, and then it shouldn't take too long to get the second one.
I wouldn't think so because we really did our very best to get the crap out of there. So that Jennifer didn't have to do that.
Yeah, and the format's going to be exactly the same as the first one.
Yeah.
So they just have to plug in the content.
It's going to be a little bit easier.
It'll be easier. I think it'll be pretty quick. They have it announced it should be coming out by 2026. So by the end of the year, they both should be out there for sure.
And I think we're probably looking at either the end of 2026 or 2027 for volume 3 because we're still gathering information on that.
Yeah. I think it'll probably be released in 2027.
But I just want to thank all of the YouTube channels. I mean, who can we mention? We can mention
Madeline.
Yeah, Madeline at Leaving Babylon. Paul at
Conspiracy. Conspiracy. What is he?
No.
I always say unexpected because that's who
everybody knows who Paul is. Understanding conspiracy. And then Noel at
Unexpected Cosmology. And then we do have some of Jason Jack's work.
Yes.
And so
Jason Jack,
he's got.
I mean, there's so many really that I couldn't mention them. And to go back to the first expansion of my thinking outside of the canon was from Zen Garcia.
Definitely.
And he absolutely just thinks that this is BS.
Well, no.
But he's very open-minded.
Made the jump, and he's open-minded, and he has a lot of knowledge.
I pray for him that he might see this because he's a dynamo.
He is.
I would love to have him. I would love to have him become aware of this, but I'm not going to worry about it because Zen has given me so many gifts. But I just wanted to mention him here because of that.
He's brought a lot of insight into a lot of different things.
Oh, yes.
And
absolutely.
Walks with humility. So definitely check out Zen Garcia, too. He's got a lot of things there. I know Lisa and Noble. What's their channel? A Hawaiian, Hebrew
Hebrew
Hawaiian.
Hawaiian, they're good too.
They've had
See,
a
everybody's
lot,
given us a piece of
a
something,
piece of
you know,
information
and
here
that's
and
why I
there.
wanted to mention them, because even though he doesn't think this is right, is correct, he still has given us so much. I mean,
Yeah,
so
and
many
he's good
gifts.
friends with Noel, so they
Yeah.
have a really healthy relationship, and we love them both, and we've gained a lot. It's been a pleasure to get on Noel's show and do a lot of
She likes to do the
interviews,
panels,
and
so get on there and
yeah,
watch her.
yeah. So yeah,
Yeah.
I've done some panels with Unexpected Cosmology. I think I've done like 4 of them. So
I don't feel capable of doing that.
it's been a lot
I
of
got my
fun.
nose in the. I'm writing. That's
Yeah.
that's what I'm doing, or
So-
researching maybe. You
So
know.
I think that's
Yeah.
good. I think
Yeah.
we've covered a good
And then all the new
introduction.
friends that we've made and people that have helped
Definitely.
us in different ways.
Definitely. My sister Shelly.
Yeah.
And Cindy Albrecht. We're going to
Yes.
put a shout out to her.
Yes.
She is our cover artist, and the lot of the work within the book, we have artwork of the characters. She has
Well,
done
she
all
has
of
brought to
those.
life some of these characters.
Yeah.
I mean, I especially think about Hiram and
Yes.
Abigail. I mean, she
She's
did the
worked really
artwork for
hard.
them.
So-
Because, I mean, you know, you have some kind of a vision while you're writing or reading, but she brings it to life. So,
Yes. So we want to give her a special recognition. We love her dearly. We would love to have Cindy on at some point when we get this
when we get this
YouTube
thing
live
figured out,
We're going to
we
have
get the
her
technology
on.
figured out.
We'll have her on. Maybe I'll take a visit here and we'll share to her.
We'll do
that
something.
way.
We'll figure it out.
So we will. So until then.
And you might pray for us that we can figure this out.
We will.
Especially somebody my age. Okay.
We'll
All
wrap it
right.
up.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much.
You
for
want to
tuning
hit the
in.
button?
Yep. I'm going to say bye.
Bye bye.